What's up, guys? I'm James Flynn.
I'm Louise Forsley.
Today we're out here at Trials Training Center. It's the day after the Tennessee Knockout Hard Enduro. We're doing another pro verse video right here. So we got pro versus pro. We're gonna go around to various sections of the property and compare how I would hit the section versus how Louise would hit the section. It's gonna be a super good time. I'm really excited.
I got to watch the guys race a lot. And I was picking out some lines that maybe I could get through the hard stuff, but now we're about to go out and I get to put that to a test and see where James is gonna go, and then I'm gonna try to make some friendlier lines for myself.
All right, so we have this first rock garden section here. So what I would do in this section is, right now it's dry, so you can kind of get away with murder here. So we have this first step, followed by the second step, and then that third step up there. And if you can straight line it, it's definitely be very quick. The idea here is you're just eliminating time because you're going straight through it. Yes, there are 3 steps, but there are 3 like big steps in it, but it's dry, so you can get away with it. And the risk is potentially worth the reward in a scenario like this. Being the main line, like to me, it's the straightest. Like it's just, you're going straight up it. So to me, it's the fastest. It is pretty risky, honestly, especially at the top. But being that we're in a pretty low pressure environment, it's dry, like it seems like the obvious way to go because it is straight up. In a race, I would definitely do the first 2 ledges. The last one, with it being kind of a splatter, and the kicker's not super great on it, you kind of have to do it perfectly. I don't know if I would do that in a race, but it being consistent, just trying to get through it as fast as possible, I would say that's the ideal way to go. Going up this yesterday, I think there was some dirt carried onto it too at the top, so it made it a little bit more slippery. And then when I came through, like there was bodies everywhere and bikes were flying, so I just took the chill route and went to the left. It's also, you know, it was a qualifier for one. It was a long race. Like there wasn't as much on the line. Like we were just trying to get through it smoothly. Like depending on the scenario, like let's say it's last lap, you're trying to gain a position, you could make up a couple seconds by taking that line potentially. You could also lose a couple seconds, but if you have nothing to lose and you're just trying to gain a position, then it might be the way to go.
When I do my track walks, I'm usually looking for like multiple different lines because sometimes there's bottlenecks, sometimes the line changes. Sometimes I'm feeling better during a race than I think I would. So the main line is up this like slab, which I could probably do that today if I feel fresh and I'm not in like race pace. But if I was in race pace, I'm kind of looking for lines that help me keep my momentum during the race without gassing myself. So I know if I have to hit like a big slab and set up for it, it kind of takes more energy out of you because when you hit the obstacle, you're actually going to be like holding your breath. You're going to be holding on to the bike tighter rather than just getting through this crack here where I just can put my feet down a couple times, hang back a little bit. You can keep the gas on smoother rather than very explosive, which for me, that will tire me out more. Unless it is like a better direct shot to where I'm going, then I will take the hit. But I know like the way I felt this past weekend, I wanted to just keep momentum through this stuff. And I was pretty tired with the humidity and just the busyness of all the rock gardens. So if I was in the race and I'm coming through here, I would snake around the big hits and just keep momentum, keep my foot on the foot peg, driving my weight into that rear tire and keep my front wheel light, try to pivot turn through those rocks and just like keep moving through this because that's the biggest thing. These races for me are pretty fast, and the minute I have to stop or dump my bike over or something, a crash happens, that I lose a lot of time and I'll lose position. So yeah, I just try to really keep anything that has a flow to it. So I was able to ride this 3 times, and I tried 2 different lines, one up this slab, and then I went around it once. And then my last time I went back up the slab, and I just positioned. I luckily landed further to the right, so I had more room to pivot turn around that rock. And on the cross trainer, it's really easy to lift my front wheel up and then keep traction through this bumbly stuff. So that really played to my advantage. I definitely would say that I like this line the most. This is like more direct. Over there, it was fine. I kept moving through that, but anything that like can make something more straight will cut off time doing a turn, I would say. So I really like that line. And then also when I got to the top and I had to get my rear tire on top of a rock, that worked out the best the last time. The times prior to that, my rear tire slid down to the side of that rock, and that like really threw me off my line, and I had to find a different way to go below that line. But the last time was definitely my best, where I was able to hit the pivot turn around to the left, up the next little bank, and then getting my rear tire on the top side of a slabby rock.
All right, so this is the uphill swamp section. This was, I believe, in the amateur day and in TKO 1 and 2. Very popular section here at Trials Training Center. That right line that I was taking all day yesterday is not looking very nice right now, so I think I'm going to try the left, looking a little bit more sexy. Doesn't look quite as beat up, maybe a little bit more consistent. But yeah, the goal here is to just look at the top, smooth throttle the whole way up. Make sure that rear is tracking, and yeah, it should be good. So this is uphill swamp, relatively simple section in comparison to some of the other things that we do here at Trials Training Center. Although it is a little bit more on the simpler side, there are a lot of rocks and little things that can kind of come up and slow down your momentum. It's not the same every lap. It's constantly changing because of how loose the rocks are. But yeah, let's hear Louise's thoughts on it.
This was in the women's main race on Saturday. I took the right line because it just seemed to be a little more broken in at that time. Now today, after all the guys raced up it multiple times yesterday, it's like pretty beat up. And the left side looks way better because the right side just looks very loose and rocky underneath the loose stuff, which in my mind, I know is going to make my rear tire spin a lot, and it's also going to be very hard to get traction. Where this left side, it's almost like more hard packed, and I also have that left side of the hill on underneath my leg or my foot, which will help me with leverage and also just traction. Every time I can place my foot, it kind of ensures momentum going up the hill. I also can like hang back more that way. If I get in the right side and I start to bumble and sit down, it's really hard to get going from there. You can keep paddling, which I did on Saturday, but yeah, I really prefer the left side. Did this turn the first time I think I just put my feet down and got through it, and that was better. The last 2 times I actually tried to turn it and it just did not work out well. I should have came in here, put my foot down, got my front wheel straight and gone for it from the bottom. When I was trying to turn, be like a trials rider and be perfect in there, I just did not have the momentum I needed from the very bottom. So yeah, sometimes in hard enduro, it's better just to put your foot down, line up, and then go. Make sure you have traction and momentum. Next up, we're gonna go out to the Red Bull Ravine where the men do their final every single year. It's basically in and out of a creek going up very steep hills. I have always watched the main, and it's easy to get very motivated by the guys because they make it look easy. So I kind of want to give it a try, but I also know I'm gonna get out there and on my bike and it's gonna be a little tricky. So we'll see what happens.
This is the 3rd hill that we had to do in the main event yesterday. Pretty gnarly hill. It's actually gotten really blown out. So entering the hill, you have 3 different lines here to choose from. I was doing the one in the middle. You go up the rock face. It set you up in a pretty decent spot to straight shot the hill. So I was pretty happy about that. I got pretty lucky and was able to kind of consistently straight shot it for the most part. And that's the goal, was to kind of straight shot it consistently every lap, because each time you switch back, you can lose, 15 seconds here, 15 seconds there, and that could be a position or two, throughout that short 35-minute main event. So yeah, my goal today will be to straight shot it from the center, go like I did yesterday, go up the rock face, smoothly crawl my way up, straight up. Now we'll pass it on to Louise and get her thoughts on it. Upon recent discovery, this right line is actually really nice. I messed it up in my hot lap, so I didn't do it a single time throughout the main race because I was in my head about it. But we're out here, obviously low pressure environment. I went for it and I tried it, and it gives you so much more speed into that main line. And I was basically able to go from kind of crawling up the main line, both feet off the pegs, still getting up it, but kind of struggling in a way, to definitely a lot higher RPM at the top, carrying way more momentum, easier to keep my feet on the pegs driving forward. Just from doing this line, I do feel it's a little bit more riskier than that one. The bottom's not super perfect, and you really got to hit it with good technique and to make sure that you get over it properly. For me, it was really good to come back here and actually do this right line and really learn how much time I actually was losing doing the line that I was doing throughout the race. Um, this is probably one of the many things that separate somebody that is getting my result versus somebody that is, getting podiums or closer to that podium position. So yeah, no, I mean, I'm stoked to be able to come out here and just learn.
So I got to watch this section yesterday in the men's final race, and it's pretty gnarly. Like, there are two lines that are probably the most direct and straight up, which involve big slabby rocks that are like way over my head. So walking this section, I looked at those two and I was like, absolutely not. But luckily there is a sneak around line that I looked at, and it was slightly questionable because it's like a slab that is definitely off camber. But I noticed that I can line up in front of it and get a good drive with my rear tire across some flat rocks. And I basically just have to gas it before, not gas it on the most angled part. And then there's another rock above it that I can fall into the groove. And once I know my rear tire is in that groove, I'm good to go. So what I just planned on doing is really weighting the rear tire, using my left leg and foot to have a safety dab halfway up. But all of my weight is definitely like driven into the foot peg, the right foot peg and the tire. So I can basically get to the top of that crack. Once I get in the crack, keep driving straight up, then set up. Again, I don't want to go straight up the main line because it looks pretty steep and it's all dug out right now. And like, it's too risky. I feel like I would bobble and stop and then have to go around and do it again. So I like the zigzag line. I know I can get up the first quarter of the hill, stop, set up, go drive left across the other side. And then again, set up slightly and then basically just drive like another 10, 11 feet to the top of it, turn around. So I found a safe line for myself, and we'll see what happens. So that was sick. I basically did exactly what I planned out to do, and I said I was going to do. I didn't quite believe in my skill going up the hill on those routes, but the first time I went up it, I found tons of traction, and the cross trainer just is like a tractor. I can't get over this enough not to go off on that, but it really did just have traction all the way up the hill, and I was able to switch back and forth. I tried it. I do the first part of the hill in second, shift down to first. One time, I think it was my second run, I kept in second the whole entire time, and it was almost too much. I started to have to pull the clutch in and slip it a little bit more, which actually caused the rear tire to spin and slide out, and I had to take an alternative route. And then the second tire, the last time, I just tried doing the top part in first, and there's plenty of lugging power, and I was even just able to kind of like have both feet off and track up the last piece of the hill. So I'm pretty stoked to ride one part of the men's final piece. Okay. That was my first time riding with James Flynn, my new IRC Beta USA team member, and that was pretty cool being able to ride the same stuff as he was, especially in the Tennessee Knockout. We definitely have different lines and different versions of how to do this. There are a lot of variables between what our choices are, but we're, on the same course, and it's pretty cool to do a pro versus pro breakdown.
Yeah, tons of fun out here. Louise was absolutely killing it today. It's super impressive to see what her and other pro women are capable of doing. I think it often isn't really displayed as much because of where they're starting in the races, behind the C and the B riders. But yeah, hopefully this gives you guys some perspective for what she is capable of doing. It's honestly incredible. Yeah, had a great time out here today.